Okay, good evening, Hatfield. Welcome to the November 14th, 2023 meeting of the Hatfield Select Board. I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. As usual, I will read our public participation policy. The Hatfield Select Board welcomes everyone to its meetings and all other public meetings of the town of Hatfield. All regular and special meetings of the boards and committees of the town of Hatfield shall be open to the public and shall conform to the open meeting law. Executive sessions are closed to the public and will be held only as prescribed by the statutes of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It is important to recognize that the open meeting law affords the opportunity to listen to the proceedings but not necessarily participate. During meetings of the Select Board, an attempt will be made to find a balance between hearing from members of the community and conducting the required business of the Hatfield Select Board. For announcements, I would just like to remind people that Luminarium it's going to be December 23rd this year. It's always the Saturday night before Christmas Eve. So this year it happens to fall very close to Christmas Eve. And I think the candles get lit at 5.
Yes.
Festivities at 6. So I haven't seen anything official if everything is still happening the way it always did with the fire station and everything. But I just wanted to let people know that it is oh, here we go. Bob, is Luminarium the same with things at the fire station? It's after, so Town Hall 6, back, people are welcome back there for hot cocoa and
Refreshments back at the fire station, and then fireworks are 6:40.
Okay, there are fireworks. Okay, 6:40. That's great. And that is December 23rd.
Correct.
Okay.
What time do the candles get lit?
5:30.
Yeah.
Oh, 5:30. Okay.
And so Billings Way again will be closed in the afternoon?
Part of it, yes.
Okay.
To be able to access the front of the school, the rear of the school. And
Okay. Down by the pavilion, because that's the staging area for the pyrotechnics. Okay. So we'll say something again in December, but I know people probably want to make plans. So I just wanted to let people know. That was really the only announcement I had. Ed, you said you had something?
I just want to thank everybody that attended the Veterans Day ceremony on Saturday in front of Town Hall. It was a nice little showing from the folks, and thank you for being there. The other announcement is I want to thank DPW for finally getting the lines painted. I want people to understand that it took a while, but the reason for it is there's only like 1 or 2 companies in all of Western Mass. So it was a scheduling issue, and they had rain, so they finally got them in here to get it done. So just want to say that.
I think they have to pay, they can't pay for that with Chapter 90 money anymore, I don't think.
I'm not positive.
So that might have been part of the problem too, but. And
only, I think,
on a new road, right, but existing roads, they can't use Chapter 90 for that anymore. Okay, and did you say you didn't have anything?
Nope.
Marlene, anything?
No, I don't think. you.
Okay. Is anyone here for public forum? No. Okay, so we'll move right on to approval of the minutes.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the select board site visit from September 27th.
September 29th? Oh, no, these are kind of, so the site visit, this says site visit, but it's the 27th. That's the one at the elementary school?
The 29th.
The 29th says site
Oh,
visit.
I see what
But
you're
it says
saying.
site visit on
Okay.
the 27th too.
Yeah, you're
Did you
right.
not
No,
wanna
it
do the
shouldn't say
27th
that.
one?
No, I meant to do the 27th one,
Oh, okay.
the site visit.
Okay. No, the 27th is not a site visit. That's when we were at the elementary school.
Oh,
Read the minutes.
okay, all right, I'm
Right,
backwards.
right.
Okay, I'm backwards.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry
Oh.
about that. Yeah.
Okay, scratch that. I'll make a motion that we approve which one do I want to do first now?
Board.
We'll go, let's go
select board.
chronologically.
The select board meeting for September 27th.
There's just one correction. The date, the year is wrong. There's a typo in the year.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I'll second that one.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now I'll make a motion that we approve the select board site visit meeting from Old Stage Road on September 29th.
Same thing with
Abstain, I
the
wasn't
year,
there.
yeah.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. You guys in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ed?
Make a motion to, I abstained from that last vote
Oh.
because I was not at Old Stage Road.
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
That's why. I
That's
didn't-
right. Yeah.
I
you weren't.
abstained.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to approve the, well, actually, this is an executive session. We shouldn't be approving this yet.
Right, Marlene?
Correct.
Right, this has not been
Okay.
resolved.
I would
yeah.
not approve, I would
Mhm.
not
We'll
approve
hold that.
October 3rd yet.
Okay, we'll hold
Hold
the
it, yeah.
October 3rd minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve October 17th, 2023.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
Yes, I do have one discussion on, under announcements of the minutes where it says, I said stated PV, it's PVPC, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. I'd like to have that changed. And then where it says 100,000, whatever used for windows and roof replacements, it should be that grant can also be used for windows and roof replacements. That grant can be used for restoration of historic buildings. So I just wanted that
Okay.
clarified on those. And other than that, I'm all set with it.
Do you want to redraft and have us approve them next time, or do you want to, can we move ahead with that, Marlene?
Why don't
You're
we
just-
redraft them
Redraft,
and have them for the
okay.
next meeting?
Is that okay with you?
Just a question regarding
Sure.
PVPC. So are you talking about where it says Selectman Jaworski stated and then it
Yeah,
says
it should be
PV Planning
PVPC.
Commission?
Yeah, it should say Pioneer Valley
Valley
Planning.
We could,
Commission.
yeah,
Yeah.
spell that out, yeah.
Okay, so we'll hold those other ones. Okay, so our first order of posted business is actually a hearing at 5:45, and then we have a hearing at 6 PM. So why don't can we move forward with maybe some of the appointments?
Yes, you
Um,
can do that.
Obviously not the planning board ones, because that's going to require some discussion, but
Mhm.
we have some other things that we could take up.
Topic 5. you're
Yeah,
talking
we could
about,
take
yeah.
up quickly. So we have Maxwell Bartlett, excuse me, has expressed interest in being on the Agricultural Advisory Committee, which I think is just fantastic. So they're looking, so the town clerk is looking for an appointment on that. Anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve Maxwell Bardwell to the agricultural.
Bartlett.
Bartlett.
Maxwell
Yeah.
Bartlett to the Agricultural Advisory Commission
I'll second.
Committee.
I'll
A
second.
motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Max, for stepping up for that. That's terrific.
Mhm.
He's certainly knowledgeable about that, and the young, it's great.
Could be a good addition.
Very good addition. Very happy about that.
I should have announced, under announcements, I should have mentioned the resignation of the Veteran Service Agent and asked for anybody that's interested to apply to Town Hall. Right now, I believe it's about 8 hours a week. That's what the Veterans Agent is saying is
Really?
required. So,
Yeah, it's really important work too,
Yeah,
so.
information's available on the town's website.
So we certainly, do we have to vote to accept his resignation?
Well, typically the board does vote to accept a resignation.
I'll make a motion that we accept
Hire
the
him.
resignation of Joseph Letourneau as the Veteran Service Agent. We certainly thank him for the time he dedicated to this.
I'll second that.
I'm in favor.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So I guess anyone interested in that would probably be best to reach out to you, Marlene, to get a little more
Yeah,
information.
information
about
is
the
available on
work
the town's
involved.
website, or they can contact me. And just when you inquiring about the resignation, so it is the select board that appoints the veterans
Right.
officer too.
Right, okay. And so in the meantime, he's still going to help a little
He's
bit?
helping
And
out.
are we going to be in touch with Northampton?
I will be reaching out to them. I already have, but we may need them to assist us because he has a cutoff date in December that he
Right.
won't be available.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, I had a good conversation with Mr. Letourneau last week. It was helpful.
If not, I mean, Northampton's always been a backup.
They have helped us.
And then we have an appointment to the Day Pond Restoration Subcommittee. I don't think I have anything on that, though. Or was it, maybe it's in the new
So
stuff you handed
we
us?
inquired, Karen inquired, it is in the, oh, there is.
Oh, here it is.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Okay.
So we have the Smith Academy student.
Yeah, I
Who
don't
has-
have a form on that.
I don't think there was one, didn't the town clerk say they
Okay.
didn't need one?
Okay,
Right.
because he's a student, yeah. Okay. I think that's great.
According
I
to
have
the
no
town
problem.
clerk's office, subcommittee doesn't need to have appointments. I thought
Oh,
they did. but
Okay, so.
Even though the
we're-
board is appointing the committee, they don't need an actual
Oh, okay.
appointment.
Okay. Well, that's great that he's stepping up
Thought
to do
they
that.
did.
All right, so, but we do need to make the appointment to the local cultural council.
Yes.
And
And
we
you
have-
will, the board should vote to appoint Ian, I believe.
Oh,
it is,
okay.
right? So you should vote to appoint.
Oh, I
him
thought you said
anyway
we
to
don't
the
have to
subcommittee.
appoint.
A
subcommittee.
form is not required.
I'll make a motion to appoint Ian Guskowski
Yes.
to the Day Pond Restoration Subcommittee.
A second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then I will make a motion to appoint Karen Gatenby Smith to the local cultural council.
And I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That is for a term of 2 years, I think, right? Yeah. Okay. How are we doing on time? We have 3 more minutes until hearing with the assessors.
Want to take up the abatements?
Yeah, I think we probably could do
Water
that
and sewer
fairly quickly. So we have some water abatements here with recommendations by the DPW director. So we have 2 individuals, 2 different properties that received water bills over $63,000. Those poor people, I would have fainted. And it is a sort of a malfunction of the meter. So, and then we have someone else who is requesting an abatement based on needing to put water in their pool, and that one is not recommended by the DPW director. I'll take a motion on those. We should probably do them separately, Arlene?
Yes, please.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we grant the abatement, the water abatement for 115 North Hatfield Road as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No, I mean, it is recommended by
Right.
the water superintendent, so.
Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we grant the abatement to 3 Straits Road as recommended by the water superintendent.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And I will make a motion to deny the water abatement request to 31 North Hatfield Road as recommended.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 How are we doing? 1 minute. Are the assessors going to be coming in?
We should be on their way. Oh, I think here they come.
Here they come, right on time. Hi, Jenny. Hello, assessors. So it is 5:45. I will go ahead and open the tax classification hearing. Welcome the Board of Assessors, Assistant Assessor. So any discussion or presentation on this?
Yeah, I was just going to read the motions.
Yep.
The Board of Assessors recommends that a factor of 1 be adopted for FY 2024. This will keep a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield. The Board of Assessors recommends that no open space discount be granted for FY 2024. The Board of Assessors recommends that no residential exemption be granted for FY 2024. The Board of Assessors recommends that no small commercial exemption be granted for 2024.
That's the same as last year.
Yes, and Karen has a copy for you guys to sign. when you're
Okay.
done.
I think it must be in here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any questions or discussion? It's pretty standard stuff we do every year.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions.
I don't hear any public comments.
Any
Oh,
public
there's somebody in
comments?
the
I'm
back.
sorry, public comments. Michael?
White Cahill, North Street. What is the rate per thousand for fiscal '24, and how much of an increase is that over
We haven't said that yet.
'23?
No,
We
we
have-
don't,
yeah,
we
we-
don't have the
Don't have
FY
the-
'24, no,
No, it's not.
It's not-
confirmed.
Yeah,
correct.
it's the classification hearing, not setting the rate.
We're just setting a single factor of 1.
Right,
Thank you.
good question, though. Anyone else? Okay. So I need to actually I will make a motion to close the hearing. We have to do that before?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
I think you guys have to vote on each of them though, individually. before you close.
Afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
before,
hearing.
because it says action after we close the
Okay.
hearing. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll second that motion.
okay. A motion made and second. Any further discussion? This
No.
is just to close the hearing.
Okay, no.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so now we have to take the action. So would we just go with the same,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, and do them individually? I'll make a motion that the town of Hatfield set a factor of 1 be adopted for FY 2024, keeping a single tax rate for all classes of property in Hatfield.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
None.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion. The Board of Assessors recommends that no open space discount be granted for FY 2024.
Second.
Well, would it be, the motion wouldn't be that the Board of Assessors recommends that, wouldn't it just be that Hatfield, that no discount will be granted, right?
It is the Board of Assessors recommends it.
No, I know,
Oh, okay.
but is that how the motion reads?
In previous years, I
Oh,
think so.
okay. Sorry, Ed, I didn't mean to,
Whatever.
okay. I just want to make sure we get it right.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion that we approve, as the Board of Assessors recommended, that no residential exemption be granted for FY 2024.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
And I'll make a motion. We recommend that no small commercial exemption be granted for FY 2024.
Second.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and we just sign, there's only one, do all three of us sign?
Yeah.
There's only one line, but.
Yep.
Ed, I think we probably just go right across the bottom. Thanks for the work you guys do on this. It's appreciated. I actually participate in this process in Springfield, and it is not this smooth. It's a lot of nights. Okay,
We good?
I think we're good.
All right. On
Thank
Thanks.
behalf of
We'll
the
see you
Board of
next year.
Assessors, We
Thank
thank
you.
you for your time and
Thank
consideration.
you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a 6 o'clock hearing for, so we have about 11 minutes. Let's just revisit this and see if we can get through anything else we did. Did you want to speak to the wastewater plant upgrades project and getting
I
that?
can do that. Yeah.
signed?
So as you know, several weeks ago, the board, we received notification of the grant award and the loan, and documents were forwarded to USDA. So further documentations received from USDA now will start the grant process and the loan process. The first one is an equal opportunity agreement to be signed by the select board, and it just requires one signature.
Well, I do want to thank everybody's effort for getting that $2.4 million grant. So I think that's a biggie, because before they were going to deny it, and then finally we stayed with it, and actually part of it up to Marlene's efforts of staying with it, and we finally got that $2.4 million. So thank you, Marlene, for all your work
Didn't
on
want to
that.
give up.
I know, that's,
Oh.
did we officially announce that at our last meeting so townspeople know?
We just had to sign an acceptance of the offer, but we did not officially.
I mean, why don't you just sort of let everybody know, because this is all part of the big sewer override.
upgrades of
Yeah,
the
the
treatment
upgrade,
plant.
which was a
Right.
big override.
This is a $12 million project. And the town is responsible for 132,000 of that. And then let's see, 132,000, the loan, I believe, is 9 million. And then the difference will be the grant.
I mean, we're responsible for the 9 million, but it went.
We're responsible for the whole,
Yeah.
we're responsible for the 9 million. Yeah, the
I
loan,
wish we were
the
getting
loan
it
will
for
be through
$132,000.
USDA.
Right.
I understand that the design work is pretty much 100% design is
Oh.
complete. So this will allow the town to move forward, put the project out to bid.
Okay. And so we have to vote this equal opportunity agreement, or do I just sign it?
I think just a vote to accept the equal opportunity agreement with the USDA, and sign it. There are two other documents. One is the actual grant agreement, and the other is an assurance agreement.
Okay.
Well, actually, there's another one, then the loan document.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we
Sign the equal opportunity.
sign the equal opportunity papers from the USDA.
Second. Motion made and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
This one just requires my signature. Okay. Maybe
And
we
the
can
the
get-
exact amount that we got
The
was
exact amount's in there.
$2,406,000, or 20% of the project.
That's
So this next
The grant.
is the grant agreement.
yes.
This next document, Marlene, that says it's the $9.62 million.
Correct. So the financing is $9,623,000, and the total project is $12,029,000. And
So there's the assurance and the loan documents,
yes,
and then I have this. This
the-
is the grant agreement.
yes.
Okay, so
Mhm.
let's take up the grant agreement next. I'll make a motion that we vote to approve the grant agreement as
Second.
presented. Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
Aye.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Does this doesn't need to be notarized? The three of us sign it. This is kind of confusing here. I don't want to mess this up. There's the green, so it says attest executed by,
Test and its corporate seal affixed.
is it just me?
So it shouldn't be, it should be the select board chair signing off on this.
On this back, are you looking at this?
The last page, page
Yeah.
7, that's what I'm looking at.
Nope, that's a different document. I'm looking at the one that says
Page 7.
Water and Waste System Grant Agreement on the
Yes.
very back
Mhm.
page.
Mhm.
Where the sign sticker is, I'm not sure, it's not really clear.
Attest by, well, I would,
Executed by, it's duly authorized.
Title.
Attest.
so what I would suggest is
Where it's,
I can strike my name and we can type in your name.
oh,
and-
and then all three of us sign it?
It doesn't appear that this requires 3 signatures, just one.
So you want me to just sign above your name?
Why don't you sign it on the first bar and then I can white out.
Okay,
Okay, yeah.
White out any of your signature.
okay. I mean, worst comes to worst, if I have to re-sign it, I can do that. Okay. Okay,
It
so
looks like
that's
they're
that.
looking for 2 signatures, because see where it says by and by?
That's why I'm confused.
Yeah,
Mm. Do you have to sign it too? You and me?
so I think I think I'm witnessing the signature of.
All
the
3 of
board.
us? Okay.
It's just certainly not going to hurt. 3
Okay,
signatures is
so-
not going to hurt.
Ed, why don't you sign above my name?
I don't know if you need with the seal there.
Yeah, I remember I sent an email to the gentleman because this was confusing and I didn't get a response back.
And then, Greg, I'm going to have you sign probably under my name. Or, yeah, or just sign, you know what, sign right next to.
Yeah.
And then the next one looks like it needs to be notarized, Marlene.
The assurance agreement,
Yeah. Or is that just the
the
town
seal
seal?
needs the town seal.
Town seal, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to vote this assurance agreement. Isn't this fascinating? Okay, so I'll take a motion on this assurance agreement.
I'll make a motion that we accept the assurance agreement.
A second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That is actually only my signature required there.
That's right. And then the
Okay.
town clerk.
One
can
more,
place the
and then we
seal.
can. Okay. Is that it? Oh, the loan resolution. This is the $2,400,000 loan
Cool.
resolution.
Yeah, we'll fill in the rest of that page, just need
And that's just
Today's
me,
date
that's
and
just me as well.
your name and
Okay.
then we'll fill in the title.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion that we accept the loan resolution presented.
Hold on.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Sorry about doing a motion.
Karen, did you need us to hold on? Is that what you said?
No, she was talking to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we'll
listen.
fill
Okay, so how are we doing? We still have a couple of minutes. Yes,
Quick question about the $9 million loan that the town has as well in terms of this whole scenario. Is this preliminary documentation that's required for the $9 million loan to be approved at town meeting in May?
That article was approved at
that was
town
a,
meeting.
that was
Was
a,
that approved?
Oh, yes, it was.
Okay.
yeah, and then it was a vote. It was
a vote.
debt exclusion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had, actually, part of the town's application, we had to provide documentation of the town's
Right,
vote.
that was all.
We got it. Been a while.
We're just signing the abatements we voted, that's all. I put disapproved on that one. A lot of papers shuffling around tonight. Okay, how are we doing? We have 1 minute, and then we'll open up the liquor license hearing. Thank you. I don't think we have time, Marlene, to take up anything else.
No,
So if anyone's here for the liquor license hearing, if you want to come forward, we're going to open it in a minute or so.
You can pull up a second chair to the
Right.
microphone. That's
Yeah,
fine.
it would be best to be up at the
Perfect.
microphone. I do have 6 o'clock, so I am going to go ahead and open this hearing. This is a liquor license hearing It's scheduled for today, November 14th, 2023 at 6 p.m. The purpose is a new license, a hearing for a new license, all alcoholic beverages at 127 Elm Street. The manager is Christopher Cruz. And we will be taking public comments during this hearing. So, first of all, welcome. We're delighted. It took me a minute. Sorry. We're delighted to have you here. I'm hearing wonderful things. I haven't been over yet. I'm going to get there this week. So we're really glad that you're in town. Welcome.
Thank you.
So anything you wanted to, I mean, it looks like everything's in order, Karen.
It is.
Yep.
Do you need us to say anything?
I mean, no, you're looking for, so this is the Elm,
Yep.
127 Elm Street. It's called Cantina. It's where the Grill and Chill was. And you're looking for an all alcoholic beverage license. This is Mexican food. I mean, I don't have many questions beyond that. I'm sorry, your name is Christopher.
Christopher, yeah.
Christopher. Okay, I thought it was a typo on the first page. I'm sorry I had that wrong. So, I mean, it looks like the paperwork is all in order.
A hearing was published.
And the
regarding
notice
that.
was duly published. How long do these usually take to process?
I always say 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6
It all
weeks.
depends on, how busy they are. But, if, and the DOR also.
Yeah.
Is in communication with the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. So, and you might receive a call, and if they have any questions, it's not unusual.
I don't have any more questions.
I'd like to say welcome.
Mhm.
I did take the opportunity to eat at your restaurant, and I was impressed with the layout and the food, and I've heard a lot of good comments too. So welcome to Hatfield, and I hope you have a lot of success.
Thank you.
I used to go up in Shelburne Falls.
To Posada.
Yes, Posada. So good.
I was there too. It was great.
I didn't
Not at the
see
same time as him.
I didn't see the enchiladas divorciadas on the menu here. Are they?
Bandera.
What's that?
The bandera.
Okay.
Yeah.
But-
In Cantina is the bandera.
Oh, it's just, okay. So it's
Bandera
just got a
enchilada.
different name. Okay.
Yeah.
Those are really good. All right. I have no further questions and no concerns. Just really glad that something's going in there. Something great.
I guess we move on to public comments if there's any.
Any public comment? Sorry, I missed that part.
Excellent food.
Hmm?
It's excellent food.
There you go.
Had it 3 times in the last week.
Wow.
Well.
Wow. I talked to her right after she had it the first time and she gave a glowing.
Related and party wise, it was excellent all 3 times. So I'm very happy that you guys are here. Great addition to town.
Yeah, really, really great. Really happy about this. All positive. Okay. Anyone else? No other public comment? Nobody else had anything? Any recommendations you can give us? Okay. I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to grant the annual all alcoholic license to Posada Incorporated, DBA Cantina at 127 Elm Street as specified in the application.
I'll second that.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion? I actually have one question. How does this work when it's so close to the end of the year, Marlene? Is it?
We usually, depending on the timing of the year, we'll prorate. They still are responsible for the fee to the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. But as for the license, because it's so close.
And
actually,
if you add 6 weeks, we're going to be right.
Right, license, so we waived it.
Okay.
Yeah, we waived
Makes
it.
sense.
Because
Okay.
they're actually going to be, well, this is a new license, so actually they won't be doing a renewal right now. Yeah, because.
But you'd have to do the renewal January 1st. If it comes in.
Right,
Yeah.
for January, then I would expect, we'll have to check with ABCC on that, because these are for January,
Renewals are figured in November, so.
right? The current license, there isn't a
Yeah,
license.
we do them in
issued
November,
for
but
the
they're valid January 1.
January.
Yeah.
So there will be a
I just
fee
wanna
for
make sure
January. It's not a fee.
Yeah, I just want
For
to
the
make sure we're
current year.
fair about that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, so
Okay.
just to be clear, that we waived the fee for the current year.
Okay.
They will pay a fee
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
of course,
new
for
year.
next year's license, of course, right. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Can't wait to get over there this week.
This week.
This week. Okay, so where are we? Planning board. Do you want to come on up to the microphone?
Hi,
Hi, Stephanie.
I've got
Jimmy
Tar and John Jeffress, planning board members.
Lee was here. Where'd he go?
He was here. He had to go.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you are putting forward some, you have a vacancy on the board, obviously, because of the sad loss, Mr. Poshik. Here you go, Greg. And so there was quite a lot of interest in this.
Mhm.
Yes, we were very pleased and excited by that.
Did you do any discussion with them at all?
With the
Candidates?
No, only one that came to our last meeting that we
Okay.
had. Because they weren't all invited necessarily to the meeting. I don't know if we have the
They
time.
were invited to this.
They were
meeting.
invited to this one though.
Right,
correct,
because
yes.
this is, and you're actually in a meeting, you're meeting tonight.
Yes.
Right.
And we discussed the applicants that we did have at the time. And we can talk to you about that now, or do we want to hear from the applicants first? I'm not sure. How we want to do that.
I guess I would like to hear from applicants. So just so that townspeople know, we have Douglas Finn from 15 King Street, David Keir from 86 Bridge Street, all sent credentials, by the way. Ed Bodzinski from 138 North Hatfield Road. And then Michael Cahill from 31 North Street, and Greg O'Masta from 123 North Hatfield Road. All expressed interest and gave, information about their qualifications and.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, we didn't have a chance to discuss Greg O'Masta's because it came after our meeting and the deadline. But we would be thrilled to have any of those candidates. So it was a tough conversation that we had at our last meeting. But
Okay. I mean, if anyone is here and would like to say a few words about why they'd like to be on it, I would be perfectly open to that. Anybody? I know Michael's here, David's here.
Mr. Finn is here.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Finn. I don't know you, so I didn't realize that. Thank you. Welcome. And Mr. Bodzinski is not here? And
he
I
couldn't
don't
make
see
it tonight. He
Greg.
reached out to me and said he couldn't make it tonight.
He couldn't make it tonight. Okay. And Greg is not here. Well, I will offer the three of you a moment if you wanted to speak at all. No. Okay. So does the planning board have a recommendation?
So at our meeting, we said that we would recommend two of the candidates. We couldn't come to a consensus on one particular candidate. Mostly, we were excited opportunity to bring someone new into the fold of our town government. We believe, the rest of us are all Hatfield residents, have been Hatfield residents for a while now. The two applicants we're actually recommending are ones who are newer to town. One's employment, we thought between the two of them, they would bring a new perspective to the planning board.
I definitely thought that, Mr. Finn having work experience in some other local communities with zoning bylaws and on various committees would be really helpful probably to you.
Yeah, and if anybody of my other board members if I want to chime in, feel free.
I was pretty impressed with Mr. Finn's resume and his experience in planning in towns, not just in one place, but in several places. I think that gives him a pretty broad background for helping us, and we could use new blood.
Any questions or comments from either of you?
And I will say, I know Lee's not here, but I know he feels strongly about Eric, and he said that he helped recruit, get him to put his
Eric
hat in the
is
ring.
Bodzinski.
Bodzinski, yes.
Right. Who I've met is lovely.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. We don't often find ourselves in the position of having too many qualified candidates.
This is the first time that I've had that
this is
happen.
new new territory for all of us here, right? Because it's great.
Right, and like we said to like all the applicants, we thought would bring something unique and
Very much
and-
so.
Yeah, and we're really happy that there was interest expressed there. So
I mean, I would welcome input from either of you.
Well, I mean, I think it's important that the planning board picks the candidate they feel that's going to be beneficial to the board and help the board the most. But also, I mean, I do like the other applicants also because they know the character of town, they understand the town, and they're highly respected in town. So, I mean, it's tough to
yeah, it
try
was
to
tough
pick.
for us to even
Yeah.
just say
Yeah.
two people that we. I know we couldn't even come to a consensus on one. Partially because of they were all really great candidates, and also because we didn't really get a chance to talk to any of them when we had our meeting to feel comfortable making a recommendation
Right.
on one particular
Right.
applicant.
I mean, I was also impressed. I mean, Michael certainly has
Absolutely.
a breadth of knowledge about all aspects.
Detail
of-
oriented, which I
and-
also
and
appreciate.
Dave is super organized
Mm-hmm.
and like, you know, I serve on a committee with him and I don't know what we do without him. So
Yes.
I mean, that I was, you know, those were things that I thought about a lot too when I looked through these, because I know it's a pleasure to serve on a committee with David. He really does his homework and
Mhm.
so.
So, I mean, you said you haven't had the opportunity to sit down with each of the candidates and have,
We were all had the opportunity to reach out to the candidates individually if we wanted to between now and this meeting. But yeah,
I think Mr. Finn was at our meeting.
yeah, that was what Mr. Finn was the only one that came to our meeting and actually was the only one that none of us had met before. So, mhm.
I guess, you know, your recommendation to move 2 forward means a lot because you're the committee that is going to have to, you know, work
Mhm.
with them. And I certainly think that Mr. Finn's experience looks, it's really great. I'm curious how, I guess I don't want to put them on the spot, but, you know, I think housing is something we're going to have to really be focusing on.
Mhm.
And I'd be curious to know maybe how they feel about housing. I mean, that's like housing, that's like a huge thing. I don't know. But I do think that that is one of the most critical things that not just Hatfield, but the Commonwealth in general is facing. And there's some things coming. Hatfield is going to have to be prepared to move forward with creating new housing. And, you know, frankly, it's going to be tied to programs and grants and Commonwealth funding on a lot of things. That has been made clear by this administration. And so it's important to me that we're putting somebody on the planning board that has some experience in that and, you know, is prepared to take that on. It's going to be a big task.
And as we were talking about housing, this would be a perfect opportunity to remind everyone that tomorrow evening, our assistant town planner, Janelle Franklin, is as part of her her master's program, and she's using Hatfield as a test case in her thesis to have open conversation with anyone about housing and making proposals to what we should, you know, maybe tackle. And also we're doing this along with the comprehensive plan committee. We're, you know, talking a lot. Housing is a big thing that we're talking about as well. So it's definitely.
I can't be there. I have something I can't get out of, but
yeah, it's tomorrow.
Stephanie and I have had some long conversations about housing, but.
Yeah, and it's tomorrow here at the town hall, 5 to 7, 5:30 to 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
David?
I'm on the comprehensive planning committee as well, and that has become a huge issue that's going to come forward in the new comprehensive plan that, you know, what used to be called the master plan.
Right.
You know, in many different ways, not just, you know, we need to figure out a way to get more people here. We need to figure out a way to get more kids here because we need more kids in the school. We need more places where we have housing, where we can get them hooked up to the sewer. There's a million different things that have come up in our comprehensive planning committee about housing, and
We've lagged
we're
behind.
we're way behind. the
We're way
times.
behind,
And there's going to need to be some changes in our bylaws and our plan to try to get more people to come and build houses, and get contractors in here who want to buy up a piece of land and put up, I mean, people don't want to hear it, but
Homes that
10 or
are,
15, houses in a development that are affordable for young people. Otherwise, there's going to be, we're going to suffer the consequences of something serious in the next 5 to 10 years.
We sure will. We already are.
We already are.
We already are.
Absolutely. And
But
that's
it's going to
be a
get
big
worse.
thing that comes out of the comprehensive plan about what we need to do.
And there's going to be, I think, really thresholds established, and communities are going to be expected to meet them. And there'll be repercussions for not.
And I think that our town has done an incredibly poor job with affordable housing.
Absolutely.
Just an incredibly poor job. It has never been important enough, and we've never really tackled the issue.
I think, back when some of the regulations were put in and lot sizes were established, people really truly believed they were doing the right thing.
right.
Right? It was to preserve the character of town and preserve the farmland and not have, huge developments and everything. But times have changed, and Hatfield needs to tackle some of these issues. So that is something that's important to me. That's, a lot of this is going to rest on the planning board.
Yeah,
So-
and actioning on a lot of those recommendations from the comprehensive plan will
Right.
definitely fall on the planning board.
Right.
And I'm excited that we have an assistant planner to help with doing some of that work too, so.
It's a really big discussion that we should have another time. But, I could talk about it for days, and Stephanie and I have actually had some really, long conversations, not recently, but about one of what I see as one of the biggest challenges we're facing here.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, it sounds to me like you're favoring Mr. Finn.
I know it was
I
really,
mean-
personally, just on paper, yes, and not knowing either of those two candidates super well. But I also know, like I said, Lee Bell, who's not here, felt really strongly about Eric Krasinski. So that's
Right.
I don't want to.
I guess I personally would lean towards Mr. Finn myself. I don't know how you feel.
Well, I have total respect for David and Michael because I
Yes.
know their character and their backgrounds. But I also understand, but I also understand that,
You put your name forward, and what happens, happens.
Right.
but I also understand that the planning board has an opportunity to get somebody that has some background already, and they can just get ready to go instead of getting training. So I can understand where the planning board's coming from with Mr. Finn. So I mean, and they got to have somebody that they pick that they feel that's going to work best for them.
And if I had to chime in one thing, I feel like if we need something on the planning board in a person, we need a person with more technical knowledge of all the planning and zoning stuff that's had some experience there. I mean, we're doing the best we can, and we're all sort of new at it, and we're all trying to make the best decisions we can, but none of us have had that experience before.
It's hard work.
It is, and none of us have been able to have credentials like this.
But Mr. Finn's.
Yeah.
New perspective, I think, will be really important. Just resting it all on your shoulder. No pressure. Right.
If I could ask just a
Oh, sure. I'd love to have you speak.
Sure, Doug Finn, King Street. The appointment is short-term until the next regular election, correct?
Yes.
So it's a 6-month probationary period.
Yes. Yes. That's how it works, right? That's how it was with you, John, I think. Yeah. Good point. That's an excellent point.
Yes, I think on paper he's perfect.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Perfect.
But
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to just having someone who's willing, dig in and do some of the work too. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm smart enough to know what that is.
Okay.
And also encourage anyone who's not who doesn't get picked for this. We have plenty of other openings on boards and committees, I'm sure, as well.
That's true. And there's always the elections. There's elections.
There you
If you really are dying to get on the board or any board, those are coming up. Okay, I mean, I will take a motion, or if you want me to make a motion.
Well, does the planning board
We have
first
to-
have to vote on their motion, then we vote on our motion? How
Who
does
goes
that
The
work?
first?
statute states the selectmen and or select board and remaining members of the planning board hold a joint meeting to fill the vacancy by a roll call vote.
Okay. Well, all right. I mean, I'll make a motion that we appoint, is it Douglas Finn? Did I get the name wrong?
Yeah, no, you're
I was
right.
just looking
You
at
got
it.
Correct.
To the remainder of the term, Mr. Patrick's term. I don't know how else you would identify that. So Szynal, aye.
Gagnon, aye.
Jaworski, aye.
Slish eye.
Jefferson.
So that's unanimous.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And thank you to Greg, and thank you to Eric. Again, all great,
Yeah.
wonderful
So just for
people.
clarification, you made the motion. I don't recall hearing a second, though.
Oh,
Second.
Okay, thank you.
okay,
All right, thank you.
great. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Next, we have Chief Flaherty to discuss ambulance staffing operations. Come on up.
Did you receive anything from him for that?
Hello,
Did you
Chief.
receive anything? Okay.
Again,
Been in front of you folks a lot lately.
I know. I know. Okay, so there's some changes.
Yes, I sent the select board and the town administrator about a week and a half ago that the state changed some of the statutes back.
Can we ask them to move down the hall?
Bob, just for clarification, your email has stated the legislation hasn't changed yet?
No, there
Or
was
there-
discussion that they were going to make the change permanent. So
Okay.
during COVID, they allowed
Right.
first responders to cross-staff ambulances at the basic and the paramedic level, because obviously there was staffing crunches. Over the last couple of years, it's worked out great. Many communities were using it when they were losing staff. And some of the changes that came out from DPH and then ultimately OEMS, who are a regulatory agency across the state, they were rewriting some of them, and they now changed it in that you can cross-staff a basic level ambulance with a first responder for non-emergent and emergent calls, but you are no longer going back to prior to 2020, no longer able to staff a first responder and a paramedic on the same truck. You can't cross-staff, so you have to have a paramedic and a basic at the bare minimum to respond with that particular call. So what that kind of means for us is, because we've been using first responders for the last about 2.5 years, it's gonna leave some open spots.
Excuse me. Carrie, do you think you could, Stephanie's supposed to sign this. Do you think she already left?
No, Brian.
Sorry, I'm sorry,
It's
Bob.
okay. I want to have to catch them later. So currently, we do the overnight on-call schedule, and there's a couple of first responders that have been covering several nights a week with essentially Carrie and myself. We're really the last two in-town EMTs that are actually, for lack of a better term, the call EMTs that are being active right now. So me not being able to work with any of the first responders is causing a problem. And then in turn, if we're not filling shifts that a paramedic's working with a basic, we've been toning the fire department, and some of the fire guys have been really good. They've been helping us staff the ambulance. So this has been a big hit. We knew it was coming. It's just reverting back to what it was prior to COVID, except they're allowing the basics and the first responder to still staff the ambulance. So it's going to lead to where we were having usually 5 nights a week of overnight coverage that 2 people were being paid on call. We're essentially going to be down to maybe 2 or 3, unless people decide to start coming and staying in the station because nobody else lives in town. So I have
Paramedic level.
basic or, because being that Carrie is the only real active basic right now, and I'm the only active paramedic that
lives
physically
here.
in town.
Right.
It doesn't leave us a lot of options that, you know, Carrie can work with any of the first responders, but I can't. So essentially it means that the 3 nights a week that I was usually on call, I can't really be on call with.
Because you're a
normal crews.
paramedic,
Correct.
but you can't operate. Oh, no, you can't. It's okay.
I have to have a basic on the truck, and then the only basics are from out of town now that are really active.
And did this
we-
actually go
same time.
into, has this actually gone into effect?
November 10th, last Friday. Anytime after Friday at midnight, essentially, I can no longer work with a firefighter. And with just the 2 of us staffing the ambulance. So it's something that was already in the regulation. We've been able to use it for 3 years. There was hope that the governor was actually going to try to make it permanent. And there was a lot of pushback from DPH. So they kind of overruled everything because they're a regulatory agency and they can.
They oversee that?
They do. So Department of Public Health oversees hospitals, pre-hospital care, mental health. I mean, there's a
So
broad
how are
spectrum.
other like rural communities doing it? Because there's communities a lot smaller than us.
So most
they
of the
just-
rural communities are using regional EMS systems. I mean, you have Hilltown Ambulance, that's Russell, Blandford, Huntington.
Like what is Sunderland doing? Oh, they're part of,
Uses South County.
they're South County.
Correct. And then if you go up into Western Hampshire County, you have Highland that handles all 6 counties up, or 6 communities up in that direction. You go up into Franklin County, Coleraine handles a couple of communities up there. As a paramedic
I mean,
level.
the thing that it's, you know, it's not as if it's not adequate staffing the way that it's been working for 3 years, right? It seems like it's really, this is more really like a legislative issue that we should be talking to Joe, and we should be talking to Ann Goby, who's the new director of rural affairs, because this is a regulation that hits small communities completely differently than it hits, you know, a Northampton and Amherst, or even the much larger communities in Eastern Mass.
So this has been pushed out. Fire Chiefs Association of Mass got involved in it. The PFFM got involved in it. Ambulance Association of Mass got involved in.
And involved how? Like what were they advocating
the
for?
hearings when they were going through. So every year when they go to make any type of regulatory changes to 170 CMR, which is what covers the ambulance or pre-hospital care, they always have public listening sessions or public hearings. And multiple agencies sent letters. I sent a letter on behalf of us from Region 1. The director
So all
from
of those
Lanesboro.
organizations are speaking in favor of like what we've been having for the last 3 years.
Correct. Essentially, leave it alone. Have you seen any toward effects to say why? And DPH's answer essentially is that if you have a paramedic on the truck, typically that, you know, those are the serious calls that you need a paramedic. And they are putting now too much stress and onus on the paramedic only because they're the only licensed provider on the ambulance. That was pretty much in a nutshell what I got out of it, is that they just having another EMT, they have a little bit more training than a first responder. There's 2 of you there. You can work through, you know, a serious call or critical call. I can tell you most of us pre-hospitally didn't really agree with it because there's a lot of great first responders out there that can do just as good of a job, in my opinion. And yeah, we have several of them in this town that are really, really good. But
Okay, so in the immediate right now, this means that there's going to be fewer shifts covered.
the fewer on the overnight on call will be actually covered with 2 individuals. We're pretty much down to 2 to 3 nights a week instead of 5 to 6 that we've been doing. And then as far
Will
as
those be
other,
weekend nights?
what's that?
Well, is there a way to choose which night?
It's whenever the people, I mean,
Are
it's
available.
essentially, it's whenever Carrie's going to sign up for a shift, and she
So
can't do
yes,
every night.
For now.
Okay.
I'm only one person though. I only can last for so long and do only so many nights a week that I'm willing to get up out of bed. I hate to tell you that, but.
I mean, it's just a reality. I mean, she has a regular full-time job and
Right.
can't be getting up every night and then
Because that's the only other
Go to
option
work.
is that Bob and I go together. but we can't leave a child at home unattended. I'm pretty sure everybody would frown on that.
Right.
So in the flip side is that if there are open scheduled shifts, so the other 16 hours a day that we are funded for, we have put occasionally a firefighter has taken a shift opposite a paramedic, and that won't be allowed anymore. So it doesn't happen very often, but it has happened a handful of times.
So when there's no response, we'd be relying on Northampton again.
Correct. So that's the bulk of it, is that with this change,
It's also having their own staffing issues.
it's the potential to add, there's going to be potential for more mutual aid coming into the town because I can't go.
So the letter did mention something about Chief Peelis saying there'd be charges for that. I don't remember that as part of our conversation.
So back in 2001, when you and I and Stephen met,
2021, yeah,
that was something that was forthcoming then if we didn't basically fix some of our staffing problems in 21.
He did not mention that in our most recent conversation.
Correct, not in the most recent, but I know that they have done it to other towns.
Because I did have a call with the Northampton folks.
And a couple of weeks ago when I talked to him is that if we were to start calling them more often, it is going to be something. And that was a discussion that Chief Peelis and I had after one of our last chiefs meetings. He's like, right
Which
now,
is fair.
it's okay.
I mean, in reality, it's a fair.
Yep. And they're doing it to Hadley. If they end up going there, I think their cap is at 20. If they go there more than 20 times, it starts being a charge to the municipality, not to the patient.
Right.
So it's something that it's not in stone, but I definitely think that it's something that could.
What are you recommending right now?
I mean, right now we really are kind of stuck.
Right.
I mean, the only way to fix it is to add more.
But money may not even be the answer because it's even getting people to fill the positions, right?
I mean, to some extent, it's just getting the rotation. I had this conversation. I think we were going to try to meet at some other point. We got for the new full-time or the full-time basic position to replace Mike Mazulis. We had 15 applicants, and there was 4 others that were interested in applying, but the schedule is not what they wanted. It's just they don't want to work 2 16s and an 8 and no rotation because they're stuck working every weekend. And it is what it is. That's just the world of fire service. Greg kind of knows rotating schedules. That's what people like. So that does hurt us of not having that ability to do a rotating schedule.
That schedule got changed too. Didn't we change that? Didn't you change that schedule?
It will be coming. The new full-timer doesn't start until the 27th. So I can't bring him in and start him while he still has to get acclimated to the department. That's a 2-week process or so. So the plan is to go January 1st, we'll be going to a rotating schedule. And
so this is somewhat temporary.
Right. And this is only for the basics that are going to this rotating schedule right now because we don't have full-time medics. So the medics are still per diem. If they know that they're going to have regular days to work, that will help alleviate some of this problem. But there really isn't a short-term solution short of hiring essentially 2 full-time paramedics with a rotating schedule. And it's still not going to cover every shift, unfortunately. So this was, I sent the email because I wanted you guys to be aware that this was happening. And then ultimately what the consequence is going to be is that there may be more mutual aid and less calls that are covered by us because of it.
So do you think more people will work after the rotating schedule shows up? And these people weren't willing to wait until a rotating schedule shows up?
I had expressed to them that I was working on a different type of rotating schedule to try to appease to everybody, but still obviously covering the hours. That's my main focus, is to get the most amount of hours covered with the staff that we have. And I expressed that I was working on it. It could be a month, it could be 6 months. And they were like, okay, well, let me know.
So this is just for our information right now, and then
a little bit, yeah. I mean, I think at this point we're hitting that middle of the fiscal year. There's not really any way to truthfully fix this problem. I mean, I have one of my medics that was working 1 to 2, 3 shifts a week, depending on his full-time fire job. And now he's gone to the academy for 10 weeks, so he's not working at all because he's not allowed to. So that hurts when you lose somebody that's been working 2 shifts a week. So being per diem, they can pick and choose when they want to work or when they don't want to work, and we can't really force them. So, I mean, the hope is I will have 2 more per diem paramedics in March. 2 individuals that are per diem basics, one of them that we are helping cover financially to get their paramedic. They're going to be working here for at least another couple of years because we have a signed contract with them. So we are getting him.
Do you need more basics too?
Basics, we're doing pretty good. I need the paramedics, just like everybody else. But I think if I can get this schedule changed over and then make that part of it, it's going to help. But there's still not enough funding for multiple full-time paramedics in this current fiscal year because it was just never, it wasn't funded that way. So, but just wanted everybody to be aware that it could happen. It's just one more thing that's thrown in that.
I read your letter when you sent it, and I've been trying to figure out the best approach. I'm not sure what the answer is either, except maybe down the road we have another meeting and look at all the numbers on the ambulance and look at all the numbers and what we're funding and try to figure out if it makes sense to add again or not. I mean, whether it's financially feasible for the town to do that or not. So,
I mean, if you're looking for the golden ticket is essentially going to be the 24-hour staffing with 2 people. We can't pick and choose the calls. There's more days than not that now that it's 3 to 4 medicals and throw in 1 or 2 fire calls. That's almost the norm now.
Having 1 or 2 fire calls a day?
Yep. I rolled today for a gas leak in a commercial building with 2 people because that's it. That's all that's available. Went to a car accident yesterday morning with 3 people, 2 in the ambulance and 1 in the fire truck.
We did a cardiac arrest with 1 basic EMT and 5 first responders the other night because that's what was available in town. So, unfortunately,
it's just kind of where we're at. Unfortunately, we just don't have the people that live in town. We got one guy that's gone for a month for training and
throws upheaval.
That's still not even the answer ultimately. I just had another gentleman resign because he has a business that he needs to put more effort into that.
Right.
So this is becoming a little bit more the norm of a car accident or some other larger incident that's requiring a fire and an EMS response out of the same department. And we just don't have the bodies to staff both. Car accidents require an engine and an ambulance response probably 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 times. And you need a minimum of 3 bodies to even just basically get the trucks out the door and cover the call. And we don't have it.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Well, thanks for covering what you do, Carrie. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have already jumped ahead quite a bit.
So we're down to
We
topic
would be-
7.
Your town administrator report. Do
Yes.
we want to go out of order
You certainly
and take
may.
up topic 9?
You
Some
certainly
of these
can.
things we kind of had to stick with because they had times and hearings and whatnot. But if you would like to go out of order I'm sure you don't find this all that exciting.
we're on. It's good. Good to get some perspective. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Sure. You want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. I'm Marvin Cable. I'm an attorney with TreeWorks. I live in Northampton. My daughter is joining us today.
No way. Is that your daughter?
Yes.
Jeez. She looks just like you.
Thanks. I teach at UMass. I'm a professor at UMass, so she was with me all day, and she felt like she needed to complete the day by coming. So.
Funsies.
My name is McKay Freeland. I'm the president of TreeWorks and one of the co-founding members. Been with the company since day one, and I work full-time here in Hatfield.
Okay, and so you are looking for an extension of your host community agreement. And I have got to be honest, I'm really not inclined to agree to any of this. I think just to give some background, so when you were applying for your license through the Cannabis Control Commission, a big part of that was the town of Hatfield's piece, which was to finalize the host community agreement. We did that efficiently, diligently, and in good faith. There were provisions in that community host agreement that you paid us a percentage, that you provided financial documents to us, that you paid a percentage of your profits to the town, a small percentage of the town, and then there was an education component. And none of those have been met. We haven't seen any financial records. We haven't received a penny. And there's been no educational component here in town. So to come to us now and say we want to renew an agreement when you didn't honor really critical parts of the last one is surprising. And I understand there was legislation, just to be clear, so townspeople understand, in the midst of this host community agreement, there was legislation passed in the Commonwealth that said there didn't have to be a percentage to the communities anymore. And then there's, I'm not sure exactly, I think there's a little ambiguity about if it nullified previous host community agreements. But I think, good business people honor agreements that were entered into in good faith. So I have a problem with this.
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, we really appreciate you allowing us to do business in town. And it has been a pleasure being part of the community. I just wanted to correct you on one piece. You mentioned that none of the provisions were met. We did fulfill our community service hours promised last year, and we are on our way to fulfilling our community service hours this year. We worked very closely with the Hatfield Food Bank to send our employees on the cost of tree works to provide help over there in large groups with the relocation of the Hatfield Food Bank. We have found it difficult to find opportunities to volunteer and to send our employees, and we're very happy to work with whoever's really best to direct us on where we can send our resources, because just as a general mission of our company, we are trying to dedicate time to be helpful in the community. And I think there's been a lot of moving pieces with this kind of negotiation. We've been back and forth since months ago, early in the year. Our council and your council have been back and forth. So it's not something that we are necessarily trying to spring on you here as we approach the expiration. But I think just the nature of the back and forth between Marvin and your council has, we've been kind of patiently waiting to see how things evolve. And there's lots of moving pieces. I don't necessarily think that this particular meetings, if we're really even afforded enough time to dive into all the details of what's kind of the new legislation looks like and how we've come to the conclusion. But our goal really at the end of the day is to work with the town. And in no way are we trying to stiff anybody. I think that our view has changed as we've been in this industry for 5 years. We employ 30 people in the town here. One of my partners is a resident here in Hatfield and his family lives here. My other partner's from Northampton. I'm from Gill. We have all in-state funding. We're not a massive corporation, and our goal is to be in good standing in the town that we come to every day. And so what I'll say is we really would love to work with you, and perhaps we could, I think the idea of getting an extension is so that we can buy some time to just have a conversation and maybe explain what's taken place over the past 5 years and how we've got to where we are now. And, I just appreciate you giving me time to sit here and put the face to the name of the company. And so our goal, again, is to just really get an extension so we can perhaps have another meeting and just have a discussion, and we can explain to you kind of our perspective on what's taken place. And we're trying to operate in good faith, even though I understand you don't really see it that way.
We didn't get the financials.
I understand that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm still bothered by the fact that we've been asking, like, starting 6 months ago, about the educational component for the schools. And there's never been any discussion from you guys on what you were going to do on the educational component. So in my part, as I'm sort of saying, well, you haven't made good on the existing agreement, how can I extend you unless I have some definite assurances that you're going to make good on what was the current agreement before we move forward?
Sure. And that's completely valid. And, I'll take ownership for that. Nothing has come across my desk of any type of organization of education and how we can participate. But I can tell you that myself and my business partners are more than happy to come to any meeting or whatever opportunity there is to educate the community really on anything cannabis related or just consumer packaged good related. I'll give you my word on that. It's in no way, shape, or form are we trying to avoid that conversation. That's something we actually enjoy talking about.
But it's been 3 years.
Yeah, sure. I understand that.
And this has been raised, right, in our communications. So I guess I'm just, let me just, I mean, we were delighted to welcome you here. You'd be hard pressed to find somebody more business friendly than me. And I think a community more business friendly than Hatfield. But this just doesn't sit well.
Yeah, no, and I understand that. And that's why I wanted to come and just have a conversation. I think to some extent there's been a breakdown in communication. I think.
Well, time out. So we have asked repeatedly, where's your financials? Where's your financial? So
I understand that. So I'll take ownership for that. And I'm here to set the record straight that we would like to further discussion. There is really a lot of moving pieces, more pieces than I think we have the time afforded to talk about in this brief hearing. But there's been a lot of moving pieces and what's taken place. And I'm the first person that would love to explain it and sit down and have a discussion. And certainly I think the extension would just buy us some time, especially through the holidays, to have the discussion. I understand it's last minute. I think to my point earlier, we've been kind of waiting for communication between our council and your council, and it's getting down a little bit to the last minute, which is certainly not your issue, right? But I'm here to say that we're very willing to communicate, explain our side, and come to some agreement that we can all feel good about, and really ultimately continue to employ the 30 happy employees that participate and eat in this community and spend their money and come to work and really enjoy working for us. So.
Right, which was something you tried to say was your community engagement. That's
yeah.
So I'm not feeling good about renewing this agreement. I mean, if you want to do an extension so that we can talk about it again, I mean, I guess I'd be open to that, but I'm not feeling good about renewing this agreement.
I'd like to have a meeting before the deadline with you guys to talk about all this before I do the extension. I think we should have a meeting if we have time before your deadline, which is what, December
4th. It's December 4th.
If we could have a meeting and hash this out and get some guarantees that they're going to do what they promised under the current contract before we sign anything else, because I know the next one, once we sign it, it does away with everything they owe us, and we're not going to see any of that. So that's my opinion. I think we could have a meeting before then.
Do away with, would nullify everything previous.
I don't think the extension does.
No.
The extension does not.
So the extension would just allow us to have that meeting, but give us time
Gives you a
until
month.
after December.
Just taking into consideration the fact we're heading to the holidays, and it's probably, I would imagine, difficult to schedule another meeting. So it extends the 5-year period another month, so we can have some time to comfortably discuss it, and no one's feeling under pressure to cram this in the holiday season.
So there's 2 other items. There's the settlement agreement that they're proposing, and then there's the actual renewal agreement.
Right.
Okay. So by extending it, approving the extension, that gives both parties until January 4th to work out the settlement and a renewal.
I just want to
Consider
make
a
sure.
settlement
The
and
extension, just by accepting this extension, it only grant you
So
an
there's no
additional month.
wordage,
Time.
Just an
there's no
additional
wordage
month.
in this extension that's going to say, well, they don't have to
No.
give us anything they owed us.
No, no.
I mean, I don't want to hurt you guys.
No,
but
I don't either. I
wanna
mean, like
get-
I say,
I just want the town to get what they were promised, that's all.
I understood.
right. I mean, it's good business practice, right? We entered into an agreement, both parties in good faith, I would hope.
Completely
We
understood.
did. And, where we didn't get the financial statements, I mean, it's almost like you just didn't intend to abide by any of the provisions that you agreed to in here. It's not like just one, like this matter isn't hinging on just one thing
Sure.
that you didn't provide or live up to. It's pretty much all of it.
Yeah, so I mean, the statements and the proposed fee, a lot's changed, which we really want to discuss with you. Something more directly in our control that was pretty straightforward was the community service hours, which we made a diligent effort to fulfill those hours as a responsibility of the community. The education piece, I think there was a slight breakdown with communication on that. We're very willing to give an educational talk or a seminar, however we can fulfill that. We can really schedule that as soon as possible and attend that.
Well, that's that's something you should first discuss with the schools on what's acceptable for them on drug prevention and drug abuse and drug overdose or whatever, and find out what's allowable at the school and find out from them what you can, whether it's bringing in a speaker, a national speaker or something to speak to the kids, or which school they want to have discussion with, whether they just want to have it at the high school and they prefer not to have it at the elementary school. But that's something you should be working out with the school system.
But there's really been no effort around that. I mean, let's be frank about this. And then in terms of the, if you were holding up because of the legislation that was pending and then passed, the payments, that's one thing. But like, we didn't even get the financial state that, that are, you agreed to provide.
Yeah.
So it just feels like, we did what we needed to do. And there was just nothing.
Sure.
No. So I mean.
And I understand that. And that's why I think and again, I think the extension, we're not trying to pull a fast one in the extension. The extension is just giving us some time to have a meeting so we can have a discussion where we can more thoroughly hash this out and explain to you our perspective. And you have just a chance to hear what's kind of transpired over the past few years and how we've come to this. Because like I mentioned, we're all local members of the community. We're not a large out-of-state interest like so many of these companies are. And we have, we're invested in the community, and we would like to explain to you how things have transpired. And we're just looking for you to afford us that opportunity to do so. So we can have a discussion.
I mean, I just, and Hatfield's been friendly to cannabis and, to all business, but we've, so, I mean, the extension still just takes us to a few days after the holidays. I mean, it's not, but I mean, I guess we could either talk about it on the 14th or another meeting if we grant an extension.
Sure.
I would be willing to grant an extension and have this discussion, but I'm not feeling particularly inclined to, but I will go into an extension with an open mind.
Okay.
But I think I've made it pretty clear how I feel about this.
Sure.
I'll consider this a call to the principal's office, okay? I mean, we'll put it that way. I'll go with the extension as long as we can have a discussion and as long as this educational component doesn't get lost. And that's important to me, getting the kids some type of training or somebody from national coming in doing a speech, or I think that's important in this town. So
I'll see that we act on that.
The
tomorrow.
financial aspects of this are more important to me.
Yeah, and that's what we really want to discuss is financials.
Yeah, I'd be okay with the extension, but I'm also pretty, I'll agree with both of them, actually. A contract's a contract. I think the whole contract needs to be followed, all of it. And I am very interested to find out why you haven't.
Sure.
So I will make a motion to just extend the HCA until January 4th.
Current- Until January 4th.
January
for a
4th,
month.
2024. In the meantime, we will schedule a meeting, whether it's at our regularly scheduled meeting or an additional one, to dive into this a little bit deeper. So I am willing to do that. That's my motion.
I'll second it, but you now have heard my concerns, so, and you've heard all our concerns. We just, like, you watch Judge Judy, he always says, contract's a contract. Here's the four corners.
I don't watch Judge Judy, but.
Oh.
So a motion's been made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we'll revisit.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I need to drop this off here.
I think they have a copy.
Okay, great.
Unless you want to drop it off to Marlene.
Do we have
You
a
have a
copy
copy?
to sign?
There's a one in the signature folder.
Let me find
to
it.
sign.
Thank you. I think we're gonna get on all these things tomorrow.
All right, thanks for having us.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank
We'll
you.
need a copy of it. Yeah, we'll send it to you tomorrow electronically.
Sounds great.
Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, Marlene. We will backtrack to your items.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
You must have been bored to death.
I know. Poor thing. Go do something fun. Really? That's great. Good. That's awesome. So Marlene, this wage adjustment, do we have to vote this or just sign this?
Is that for the fire
Fire
department?
department, we just sign
You
it.
just sign it,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Marlene, sorry.
So the first item, actually, it's just rather quick. I have distributed a draft copy of the budget review schedule.
Yes.
Well, it's a budget review and town meeting.
Mhm.
And I have heard from, the finance committee individual emails
Ed.
in response. And I realize, Diana, that you will be out of town or the country on April 30th. I put that date there as, that would have to be the latest date.
Right, so we could
So
sign it.
depending on when
Yeah.
our meetings are, it could be the 23rd or even the 16th.
Oh.
I think the 16th was the other Tuesday date. But we don't.
Could sign it, we could sign on the 29th, we could, right?
That's true.
As long, I
That's
just
right.
want you to be aware that if we,
Yeah.
and don't forget, it can go with 2 signatures.
Yes, it can.
So,
It can. So, this is pretty much set to go. I'm going to distribute it to all the departments, boards, and committees. What I will need to work out with the board are, if you would like to consider having another meeting, setting another date to meet with departments to review their budgets, or try to just manage it within the
I
schedule.
would like to try to manage it within the schedule.
And I think, and as I said to you, I think we can do
Yeah,
that.
and I think,
Absolutely.
if there's departments that really have a struggle with that, we'll,
Yeah.
be accommodating.
Yeah.
But I'd like to try to do it within our normal
Yeah.
meetings.
And I think, I guess my goal or suggestion to the board is that, those meetings with the department heads, they may have to be hardcore discussions, but not have to call them back for multiple discussions, sort of-
Last year was just
Yeah.
like hours and hours and
So
hours.
if the
I
board
mean,
can, I guess if you're able to come to a conclusion at the end of those discussions with the department heads on how, what you're leaning
Yeah, and I mean,
towards
I
as
would
far as their
suggest too
requested
that
budget.
if there's budgets that aren't changing or it's not really
Mhm.
significant, it's, small increases in subscriptions or something like that,
Yeah.
then I don't even,
Yeah.
um,
There are costs that you just don't have
Yeah, you have no
control
control over it.
That's
If they
right.
can be explained, then, but I think the process needs to be streamlined. Last year was
Yes.
a difficult year.
Mhm.
We did what we had to do. We met, it was all necessary. And, we may find as we get into it that it's going to
Mhm.
be just as painful, if not more so this year. but streamlining it, I think, would be, really better for everybody. Certainly those of us on this board, the finance committee, but our department heads who are spending a lot of time here. Last year was tough. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'll also be distributing the guidance regarding budgets, requested budgets to all the departments, boards, committees that have a budget. Yes, getting those out.
We've had quite a few tough years.
I feel like I've barely recovered from last year's budget process.
I know. Yeah, still feeling it. The next item is a request I'm making to the select board to authorize spending from the ARPA allocation for two reasons, two purposes. Last year, we built into our budget, our technology budget, to fund an upgrade from the server, all our data from the server to the cloud. And there was quite a lengthy delay. It was 9 months to a year before all the equipment came in. So, it was hardware and then license subscriptions with that migration. And then we received, and I had believed that the invoice had been paid. It wasn't paid in the previous fiscal year. So the invoice came in after July 1, after the Select Board and Finance Committee had already met when you meet prior to the 15th. So I was like, what is this invoice? But it was for the upgrade. And we didn't have really sufficient funds to cover the total cost. So there was $13,000 unspent in the technology budget. So I talked to the accountant. He encumbered that because he still had the FY23 finances still open. So we have of that invoice for $52,000. It was $52,000. I have that information right here. $52,543. So we paid $13,766.15 from the available funds.
That leaves the 38,700.
So it leaves the 38. So my request is for $38,777
from ARPA.
From ARPA.
Okay.
If I'm reading this right, Marlene, right now we have, in ARPA, we have 374,796.
Right. So what you have in your packet is the current summary of ARPA spending. And what is unobligated is $374,796.
Now we know we have another big bill coming on the Route 5 project.
Correct. And the board has talked about,
using ARPA for that.
Cautiously using the ARPA funding because we may take a look at, using
Okay.
that for
And then there's a second ARPA funding here.
a second request. So, we have had to hire an interim treasurer collector. The treasurer collector has been out on leave. The cost of outsourcing it is expensive. And I paid the first month's invoice from my budget from professional services line item because the treasurer collector's office did not have funds available to pay the individuals. So we have received now a second month's invoice. The interim treasurer collector is here through the end of December. And I've calculated based on, that first bill. So I'm looking at $30,000
Through the end of December.
Through the end of December.
That's expensive.
So the exact amount is $30,336.
So basically 68.
Yes.
70,000, roughly,
Yes.
roughly $70,000 you're looking to
So it'll leave
take from
about,
our, leave us just about 300,000.
300,000,
in there.
correct.
Which we
Yeah.
expect the sewer, the next sewer overage would be
Yes.
more than that. That's what they told us to expect. It was about 350.
He was going to go back, the engineer was going to go back and, look at the numbers, but I have
Bring his
not
pencil, yeah.
received any updated information.
I don't think they've even been spent yet. That was
Oh,
my
yeah.
impression, yeah, that they're projecting.
Yes.
Well, we were conservative with this money, in case we needed it. I guess we need it.
But I prefer not to come to the board and request this, but I don't feel that we should penalize the technology vendor and
No.
have to wait until next year, because
Right.
otherwise the only other option is to wait until annual town meeting
Yeah,
next year
no,
to
I mean,
appropriate the money.
I'm fine with these, but it's
Okay.
good to have the explanation for townspeople to hear as well. So
I don't
Yeah.
see any other option.
there's no other option.
That's all I can do.
And we have to have somebody in the treasurer collector's office
Right.
who can perform those services.
Okay,
Do we need that into
we
a
need to
motion?
take a motion.
So yes, if you'd like to
Separate
vote,
motions, right?
yes, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve using ARPA funds in the amount of $38,776.85 to pay technology upgrade.
The transfer says 777
It does, because when I put that
Right here.
number in there,
Just look at
yeah,
this number
it
up.
Oh,
rounded.
Okay.
up on the forms.
Oh, all right.
Up there.
The formula, it
Oh,
rounds
sorry.
the figure.
Okay, so I'll correct that.
Did you second?
Yes. I'll
Okay, I'm
second.
sorry, I didn't hear you, but motion made in second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then on the second transfer,
Make sure the numbers are right.
Make a motion to use 30,336 for the treasurer collector's office.
right, there was no way to anticipate that.
No,
Right.
no way to anticipate
Did you
that
second
at all.
that? He made a motion on the second,
Oh, yes.
the
I'll second it
treasurer,
if I
okay.
didn't. Yes. Sorry.
A motion made in second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Marlene, do you think that we could maybe out of order take?
Yes,
Althea and Daniel?
absolutely, absolutely.
Because you've been patient and I.
Yeah,
it's,
absolutely, we can do that. Yeah. And I should have
It's really
suggested that, I'm
fine for us
sorry.
to do that. This is, if you'd like to come forward, we could take you now.
So, well, they're here, they wanted to be available in case there were any
Oh, I
questions.
see. Okay, that's
So
fine.
they,
No, okay,
Dan-
if we
Dan-
need you, we'll,
Danielle and Althea have submitted to the town. It's a project review checklist document that the
That's one.
Massachusetts Division of Fisheries and Wildlife,
yes, I'm sorry, you signed
so
it.
that's okay.
Oh, no, you didn't. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
And communicating with the Conservation Commission Chair, they had recommended that you be in contact, the applicants or the property owners be in contact with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, correct? That's my understanding. So this document, this checklist, they have completed it and requires the board, select board to sign off on this. At the bottom of page 2, just above, because we are, so you signed as the applicant. The town does not own the property that you own. They own the property that abuts the road. The road is the town property.
So this is all in order, Marlene? I mean, this
It is,
pretty
town
long,
council reviewed it,
complicated- Okay,
and he finds it appropriate to accept.
okay. I'll take a motion
So
on
we
it.
need a motion for this.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we sign the Massachusetts project review checklist for property owned by Daniel Tarnowski on Old Stage Road.
Second.
Motion made in second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So I actually sign on the signature of property owner because the
Correct.
the right of way.
That's
Okay.
right.
What is the date?
14.
All set.
And regarding the agreement in an email you sent today, the town has not received, I have not received it anyway, unless it was sent to somebody else.
It was discussed by the board during the site visit that
There was reference to an agreement.
that you want to select commonly as the board to reopen the agreement, to which our attorney stated that when you acquired that piece of parcel in 2016, whichever way the town of Hatfield acquired it, I'm not sure how, but it was transferred to the town of Hatfield in 2016. It already came with the common way agreement, common driveway. So we don't have, so did we get the transfer of ownership with that common driveway between us? Because we have to pass about 70 feet or so of the parcel or right away to get to our.
I think I'm following you. So you're talking about when the town acquired that land and the conservation restriction actually has language in there about that driveway.
Well, this is.
Or the road.
No, I'm not. So I don't believe this has anything to do with conservation. It's just when it used to be a bigger parcel right back in, I'm not sure, over 20 years ago. I don't know how many years ago. Parcels, I'm referring to 217-15.1, 15.2, 15.3. It's my understanding that over 20 years ago, it used to be this one lot when it was subdivided, which is now our lot, 15.3. It was subdivided the way that we don't have frontage from Old Stage Road. So in order for us to get to our lot, we have to pass that common driveway.
The roadway we stood on.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So what the attorney Szynal was saying at the moment, which was the site visit on September 29th this year, that pre-existed, the common driveway pre-existed before the town acquired 217-15.0, which happened in 2016. And so we don't have any objection as far as the common driveway. It was the board, it was our understanding, it was the board had wanted to take a look at the common driveway again, to which you agreed you will do. So we just waited for, because you stated at that day that you will consult the town's legal counsel on this matter. So we just kind of patiently waited. We understand things take time. That's why I only followed up today with 6-7 weeks later. Because again, we acquired the land the same with the same common driveway. We don't have power over that in the sense of what's going to happen to, it already exists. It's been established.
So really just to get a legal opinion on the common driveway, the status of the common driveway.
I mean, we don't have any objection to, you know what I mean? We don't have any issues as far as the common driveway.
But I think it's to make sure it's all good.
Yeah, I think the town just doesn't want to have any liabilities on anything
we don't want to,
happening on that.
So I think that's
and to which we don't have power over.
Right.
That's why.
This is a very complicated.
That's why we.
Okay, I'm understanding
that you will be consulting the town's legal counsel and then kind of get back to us.
Sure. Marlene, will you be in touch with Tom about?
I will. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have her do that.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Because if there was something that if you ask me to send something, I will have.
Right. No, I understand. Yeah. Okay. So we'll have her do. Marlene will reach out to Attorney Mullen.
Right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sorry you waited so long.
Oh no, I'm actually very curious on the unanticipated new business. So if you don't mind, we'll stay.
Oh, sure.
I mean, you
Unanticipated.
don't have to skip things, but
Will we get the signature via email?
for the MISA checklist.
Yeah.
Is it okay if you get a scanned copy, or do you need that right now? We can scan it tomorrow to you, or?
Whichever way works, I mean, we can get a copy now, or do you need to?
I
scan
signed
and
it.
have a
I
copy?
mean,
It's-
I signed it, yeah.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah,
oh, I didn't realize it was just one copy.
thank you. Yeah, it's just one copy. Okay, so Marlene, we need to backtrack up to the police department MOU
Yes.
with Sunderland. This is on the shared clinical response services.
Correct.
And this is just a formality to
It
accept
is.
it now, right? We had a
was-
discussion about it already.
Town council had made some recommended changes, and Sunderland reviewed it, and they are
All incorporated here.
and they support those changes.
Okay.
They're agreeable to them. I understand, though, this agreement says effective November 6th, but the department had meeting this morning. The police chief said that, well, maybe it will be, it's still in, yeah, I guess maybe they're going to keep that date. But the actual clinical support option person, individual, will be starting in December.
Right.
In Hatfield, and they will be in Hatfield on Wednesdays.
Okay. Sounds good. Anybody want to make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to accept this agreement with clinical and support options as presented to us.
And the town of Sunderland.
Second.
Yes.
A motion made and second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And this only requires my signature, so that's all set. Okay, Marlene. Moving right along.
And so the other item, I don't know if that's the last item, but anyway, the next item, the DF Riley Gristmill Dam. This is just really for informational purposes. As I believe the select board's aware, maybe you're not. So the current owners there's two owners actually. There's the owners the two owners who own the Old Mill Inn, and then there's another owner that owned the dam. And I have done some research on grants that will repair dams and seawalls, but we were interested in the dam. And then the two owners of the Old Mill Inn and the other owner, I thought what they would do is gift the dam to somebody. And yeah, they consulted with the town about it. It was my office. I talked to the planning board and the conservation.
Why would we want to do that?
Exactly. Well, the town wasn't interested in it. But in the meantime, the assistant town planner suggested to the owners that they consult with Kestrel Land Trust, that maybe they might be able to advise them or help them out. Kestrel Land Trust is not able to help them, but they suggested that they talk to the Connecticut River Conservancy. And I had an appointment with a representative from the Connecticut River Conservancy a couple of weeks ago. And they are proposing to work with the owners on applying for a grant. And it's a grant to remove the dam.
Oh.
However, I have been told that there's still, even if the funding is approved, the dam is removed, there still will be water flowing. It would be it would be a stream. They would like to come in and talk with the select board. And so it wouldn't really involve the town at all, other they are interested in feedback from the town. They would like the select board to provide a letter of support to go with the grant application. And I understand that, there may be some people that are residents in town that are interested in learning more about this project or just the dam
And the
itself.
waterfall would be gone?
So the water, yeah, the dam would, yeah, you wouldn't have that, you'd just have a stream of water.
Oh, I'm
flowing
not
through
sure
there.
on that because I was told that the dam was 2/3 natural. So you might have
I
some type
don't
of
know
waterfall.
that. I
or
don't
not.
know that.
I mean, so I don't know. I mean, I've been told through generations.
Oh, okay.
The dam was 2/3 natural.
Well, as we
But-
know, the town, well, the owners were notified, the town was notified as the town, copied on communication a few years ago that it's a significant threat. It is not safe.
Even though we have no say over the dam, the town doesn't
Right.
own it. I think it'd be nice to let the people come in and explain it
said-
and let the town know, because
Mhm.
I've already talked to a few people,
Mhm.
and there's going to be some people that don't want to see the dam to
Well,
go.
and I think also, you know, and Ed, you shared this with me, and I also know this from talking with people, there are people who believe that the town owns that. We don't.
I hope not.
We don't have any rights to it.
Right.
Right. Plus, also, I understand if they go ahead and get the money, it's a 7-year process before they even take the
It will
dam
be a
down.
lengthy process. The permitting alone,
Right.
it can take probably more than a year.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious to know how it changes,
The
you know,
whole
what they
stream,
project, the
yeah.
whole, right. I mean, because that goes under the bridge, you know, there's quite a lot of, there's a big bend. I used to live right there. And then, you know, it goes sort of behind the houses on Prospect Street between the Legion, not the Legion, between the Pavilion. There's water that
yes,
runs
that's
and then
right.
it goes,
Yes.
it comes down by Brian Moriarty's house.
That's right.
I'm just
And
curious
also,
what.
yeah, and also, I believe you said they wanted to tie in the walkway in with this
So
removing the dam.
they are aware that, you know, the town was proposing to restore the pedestrian bridge. Pedestrian bridge. They like that idea, and they would still like to, you know, the owners would like to see that. So the representative that I spoke to had said that they would like to, you know, maybe build that into the grant application. And if, you know, the town was able to help out. She understands that we had applied for community preservation funds, which we did receive. And then when we put the project out to bid, the costs came in just much higher, I think almost
For the
3
bridge.
times higher, yeah, for the work. There was some work done, water quality or assessment work was done, but nothing since then. 'Cause we don't
Well, I
have
mean,
the
I'm all for
funds.
learning more about what they're, you know,
Okay.
what they may be able to do, what kind of funds they may be able to access, how it might affect the area in general. You know, it is, I mean, I'm a little sentimental about that spot.
A lot of people are.
I used to live right there. I
Yeah.
walked,
A lot of people are.
would stop on the bridge every day on my way to and from school as I walked to school in the olden days.
I understand that you have
Uphill
to,
both ways.
that they will be submitting, it's not a lengthy application, it's just a request that they do want to apply, and then there's a lengthier application process. So I think there's 2 different dates that they have to.
I don't know if we
meet.
might need a bigger space if we have them come in and
Really?
A lot of people.
Really?
for this, when they come in, I think there'll be a lot of people want to hear what they have to say about that dam.
Well, that's great. Yeah. Okay. Well, keep us posted.
I will.
Okay, topic
All right.
8, moving right along, the Human Resource Handbook. So we have language about, a slight language change about absences and
Yes.
basically reporting of absences.
So these 2 sections, or article sections in the HR policy exist. We're talking about amending and adding language.
Yeah, I mean,
So the first
one, excuse me, I'm sorry. The one about absences due to illness is pretty straightforward. I have no problem with that.
Okay. The travel reimbursement, we had talked about that at a previous meeting, and that is based on the room fees, meal fees that are charged, you know, if you're
traveling for work.
Your travels require you to stay overnight, then the individual employee is incurring other costs, fees, and we haven't reimbursed the employee for those fees.
That's not
And
right.
we felt it wasn't fair. And so yes, you do have that in your packet?
Mhm.
These
we are
pages?
tax exempt, but I guess that only works.
Right. So the travel policy under number 9
Right.
has been updated.
Okay.
And this was information that I had consulted with the accountant on whether he has seen any
This is
samples of
taken
language from
yeah.
Division of Local Services.
Okay.
And so he had provided me with some
Okay. I don't have
options.
I don't have a problem with either of the proposed additions.
Okay.
As they're presented.
I don't either.
No, I'm okay with this.
All right.
So do we need to vote that or?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion that we accept the Human Resource Handbook updates as presented.
Second.
A motion made in second. Any further discussion?
Would you mind including in that motion relative to section 22 travel policy and section 15.2 sick leave?
Okay.
If you don't object to that. Thank you.
Make the motion to accept the revised language to the Human Resource Book, section 15.2, reporting absences, and accepting the amendment to Human Resource Handbook regarding reimbursement for meals in room taxes, section 22.
Thank you.
Jaworski, aye.
Szynal, aye.
And I.
Thank you very much.
And then the last item is executive sessions. Are both of these required?
Well, there are 2 separate executive sessions. The first one is to meet an executive session under item 1 to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than the professional competence of an employee.
Okay.
And then the second executive session, it's a suggestion if the board would like to. You're not in any way committed to have this executive session. This would be if the board wishes to take up that settlement agreement that TreeWorks is proposing.
No, I don't wanna
Based on
take that one up now.
our previous discussion here,
Yeah.
I would say that you're.
No, I don't
yeah,
want to.
That's not for this
not now.
evening. Okay.
But the other one, so we will go into executive session. We will not return to open session. So
a motion needs to be made and seconded by a roll call vote.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we go to executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, 21A1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, to discuss the discipline or dismissal of or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual.
Second. Jaworski, aye.
Szynal, aye.
And I.
And we will not return to open session.